Hi friends, this is Krish the Urban Naxal, and right now I am going to discuss this topic called emergence. Emergence as in emergency, it is spelled in the same way except it has an E at the end instead of a Y. Emergence. What is emergence? I am going to explain giving you examples, and I am going to do this conversation on emergence because it is a very useful concept for understanding the world the way it is, for understanding economics, for understanding politics, for understanding how human behavior, psychology, madness, sanity, law. So you can use this concept for discussion and analysis of a wide number of things. You need to understand what is emergence for you to then use it and apply this topic, apply this thought. It is not a theory, it is a description. It is not a theory. Let me explain this to you. And guys, for those of you who think it's just going to be a textbook talk, let me say this. No school will teach you this, no college will have taught you this. What I am going to say, if you understand it properly, it will revolutionize your world, it will revolutionize the way you see things, and it may even revolutionize the way you do things. The things in your personal life can change. The things in your business life, your occupational life, your career can improve massively if you understand this concept. So pay attention. Emergence. Let's talk like science students. First, you know that water is a molecule. The name of the molecule is H2O. H2O is two atoms of hydrogen combined with one atom of oxygen. We all know water is H2O. It is general knowledge. But does one molecule of H2O display the characteristics of water? It does not. One molecule of H2O is a chemical with some properties obviously it will have some chemical properties which will be different, but it is not water as we understand it. How about if we have two molecules of H2O? No, it is not water. How about 1 million molecules of H2O? 1 trillion molecules of H2O? Okay? If we bring together a million or a trillion molecules of H2O, something big, a big number, then that will start acting like a droplet of water. Or if it is at heat, if it is at high temperature, it will be acting like steam. Or if it's at very low temperature, it will act like ice or a snowflake. So it will start exhibiting the properties that we expect from water, which is the capacity to form a droplet of water, the capacity to form a snowflake, the capacity to form steam and exert pressure. So these are the things we associate with water. Now, will that droplet display the characteristics of an ocean or a sea or a river? And the answer is no. It is only a droplet. A million molecules of water, H2O, will probably be a tiny little droplet. It will probably be, if it's in the air, it is going to be circular. It will display a quality called surface tension, which will hold it all together. Is it a liquid? Is it flowing? Probably not flowing. If it falls on your table and you wipe it, it might make your table a little wet. That is it. It will not flow away. So, one droplet does not equal to water, or not all the characteristics of water. How about if we have 10 droplets? maybe still it's a drop. 500 droplets, maybe at a couple of thousand droplets you get the characteristics of a glass of water. Now a glass of water or a bottle of water has characteristics which are different from a droplet of water. You can drink it. You can't drink a droplet of water. You can drink this bottle of water. You can pour it. It will display characteristics like being able to be poured. You can wash stuff with it. There's a lot you can do with a bottle of water which you can't do with a droplet of water. But can you do everything with that bottle of water? For example, can you swim? No, you cannot swim in a bottle of water. If you take again a few, lakhs or crores or millions of bottles of water and bring them together in a swimming pool, you will get a swimming pool of water. And then you can swim in it. You can swim in the swimming pool. So water has a characteristic that you can swim in it. Things can grow in it. Algae can grow in it. It displays properties like waves and ripples. A droplet of water will not display those properties of waves. You cannot have a wave of water in a bottle, far less in a droplet. You can get a wave of water in a swimming pool. You can swim in this water. So there is a characteristic. But can it have tides? Again, the answer is no. This water is not going to display the characteristic of tides. For tides, you need ocean. You need at least a large lake, a very, very large lake of water. So you need a large body of water. So guys, I don't know if you have understood what I'm trying to say here. Drop from a molecule, you cannot expect the properties of a droplet of water. From a droplet of water, you cannot expect the properties of a bottle of water. From a bottle of water, you cannot expect the properties of a swimming pool of water. And from a swimming pool of water, you cannot expect the properties that you see in an ocean. This is one way to put it. Let me flip the whole thing around. If you add many millions of molecules of water into a single droplet of water, it will exhibit magical qualities which will not be there in the molecule. So water acquires more meaning when you bring it together in a drop, a bead of water. It acquires even more meaning when you put it into a glass or a bottle of water. It acquires exponentially more meaning if you put it into a swimming pool of water. You can have fishes swimming around you, or you can make an aquarium of it. You can possibly grow a whole, ecosystem, small ecosystem of fish. It's not a stable ecosystem, but it's an ecosystem. You can grow it. If you circulate the water and all, you can grow fish, a fish pond. It gets bigger. Suppose you make it a river. Well, it displays some other characteristics of water. The power to wash away, the power to sweep over landscapes, the power to deposit silt, and so on. It gets bigger. It turns into the ocean. Now you get huge number of qualities of water. You get waves. You get tides, you get tsunamis, you get marine life. It is self-sustaining. It is a self-sustaining ecosystem where there are millions of species of various kinds of things, plant life, animal life, microorganisms, gigantic creatures like whales, very tiny creatures like planktons. There are tides and oceans and currents, and it affects the weather. It influences the weather. Where you have a hot current, it causes warm current, it causes rain. Where you have cold currents, it causes other kinds of weather phenomena. It regulates the temperatures of land masses by which it flows, the hot and the warm and cold currents. It changes the characteristics of the land masses near them. So, an ocean is a different animal from a droplet of water, although both are made of drops. What is the difference? The difference is, for first of all, the volume of it. So when you have more and more and more of a certain thing, it will start displaying properties which are very different from the smaller thing. Now, where is this going, and how am I applying this emergence as a useful thing for life? First, let's understand what is human intelligence then in terms of this. In the same model, you have animal life, single cellular organisms. They are not going to display a huge number of characteristics. You have multicellular organisms, but at the micro level, microscopic level, pinheads sized organisms, less than 1/10 of a millimeter and so on. They can display many properties of life. They surely will not display human-like intelligence, the ability to look at the universe and say, well, this is Saturn, that is Uranus, this is Neptune, this is Sun, that's Moon. Intelligence, human-like intelligence does not come in unicellular organisms. But when you bring many unicellular organisms together, they start acting like a colony. Sometimes colonies come together and become a single multicellular organism, or sometimes unicellular organisms grow other cells around them and it becomes a multicellular organism. Simple multicellular organisms combine into complicated multicellular organisms. At some point, you get from an amoeba to a fish. You go from a fish to a reptile like a lizard. You go from reptilians, again through the entire process of evolution, you come to mammals, mammalian life, which is, well, let's just say it's not above or below, it is more complicated. It has a greater degree of complexity involved in it. So then you have mammalian life. In the mammalian life, there are so many mammal life forms, different mammal life forms. One of those mammal life forms is us. We are belonging to the primate family. There are many families of many types of mammals. So there are the felines, the cat-like animals, the bovines, the cow-like animals, the canines, the dog-like animals. Okay, there are the bear-like animals which are different. There are there are the ape-like animals, the primates, and we are belonging to that, a sub-branch of that. There are the monkeys which are also primate, and there are the apes which are also primate, and we belong to the ape family, and we have evolved. And what is this evolution? Evolution was a process of emergence. So at some point of time, now people say, oh, humans became intelligent because God gives them intelligence. There is no need to involve a God in this. We will talk about God somewhere else. There is no need to say that intelligence essentially comes from a God, and without God there is no intelligence. We primates, at first simple primates doing monkey-like things, breaking things with stones, breaking nuts with stones, eating them, living together in communities, being social, walking on two legs, freeing up your hands for other activities, being bipedal, being bipedal, that is walking on two legs and using your hands for other things, frees up your mental resources, frees up your physical resources. You start using your hands for other things. Your brain is organized differently when you start doing that. All of this is a process of emergence. You start from a humble microcellular organism and you eventually reach a place like human beings, like a single human being or human society. One human being is not a civilization. 10 human beings are not a civilization. They are a group. A few human beings, 3-4 human beings, father, mother, son, daughter, combinations. You are a family. Bigger group, you are an extended family. Still bigger group, you are a tribe. Now you have the beginnings of a society, or a tribe is more or less a self-contained society. A family is also a self-contained society. From a family, from many families living together, you get a tribe. From many tribes coming together, you possibly get what one may call as a village. From many villages coming together, you get to a kingdom. And in this way, through a process of addition, and each has a different characteristic. A group is not the same as a family. So a family is not the same as society. A family is not the same as a village. A family is not the same as a tribe. A tribe is not the same as a village. So through a complex group of things coming together, families, tribes, villages, the whole thing comes together in a very complicated form, and you have, when at a macro level, you have a civilization. Again, there are many civilizations. There are the battles between civilizations. One may argue that the Vedic civilization of Hindus is an entire separate river. It's a civilization that is by itself. That is an argument being made nowadays. I don't buy that argument. Because we are a syncretic civilization where we have Hindus, Muslims, various kinds of people, various kinds of faith living together in India, and we are a civilization. There are other civilizations. Again, in the Indian civilization, intrinsic to the Indian civilization, are ideas which have come from the West. We are an English-speaking nation. We speak English. To a large extent, I would argue, we may even speak English better than the English themselves, because we are multilingual. We combine English with many other languages. So again, there's a lot of emergence there. When you are bilingual, when you are multilingual, when you speak many languages, there's a lot of exchange of ideas between those languages, between those cultures. We Indians are a phenomenon of emergence. By trying to show purity, by trying to say we will only hold on to the Vedic languages part of it, and we will reject the influence of the Persians and the Mughals and anything else that came from outside. That is like saying I will cut off all the parts of me which were not parts of me when I was 10 years old. If that is how you are going to do it, if you want to revert to being the 10-year-old boy, you will have to cut off pretty much all parts of your body. You will start with cutting off your dick. So it is not going to make you a 10-year-old. It is going to make you a dead person at whatever age you are. We Indians are intrinsically an emergent society. From Western philosophy, we are emergent. We came from Western philosophy. Western philosophy has been integrated into our culture, the way we do things. We may or may not speak English. Everyone may not speak English, but it is integrated into our culture. All the things that make us who we are is what India is. It is emergent. The process of emergence is an inclusive process. and it makes us who we are. Let us not act out of self-hatred and try to cut off parts of us and make ourselves less than what we are. We are who we are. If we accept who we are, we embrace it, we grow. We grow as a nation, Hindus, Muslims, and everyone. And it becomes, as Prime Minister Modi says, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. But if we don't, and if we start looking at ways of cutting out this guy, this person, that person, we cut off aspects of ourselves. We reject the English aspect. We say, no, we are not going to have English in our schools anymore. Any of this kind of rejection. And we end up making ourselves less, we end up diminishing ourselves. So the point of this entire conversation is, we are in the process of emergence. We are the emergence. India is the emergence. Please embrace the emergence. I am your friend Krish, the Urban Naxal. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan.